Here's a 411 on 911. No one won. See, 9 in German means no. So 911, it means no one won. Yeah, it's a pretty dumbass pun. A lot of people, they look at me, they think I'm a orange sunshine, purple haze, electric Kool-Aid, flashback, fucked up, burned out, moonbeam spaced out, peace and free love, long-haired, hip-eye, dip-eye, trip-eye, tie-dye, deadhead stone, stuck in the 60s, flower power, fur-out freakovich. And part of me is. But I'm also a shit-kicking, ass-kicking, trailer trash, white lightning, swamp rat, redneck, rockabilly, hillbilly, hard-headed, hot-headed, copper-headed, hell-raising, trouble-making rebel. Son of a bitch! Like, once upon a time, I was hanging with some of my pards. We was talking to that good old boy, Jim I. Beam, and we was blowing Buddha in the bong, and we was snorting junk. They was getting lively and loud, but me, I was getting mean and evil drunk. There was this Scooby-Doo, see? Now, I didn't like him. He didn't like me. Maybe because he was slow and ugly. I was fast and pretty. Or maybe because he was fat and dumb and sloppy and mean, and I'm cunning and keen, clean and lean, and just like Shaft, sex machine. Maybe because we was two javelinas flexing at the same trough. Who knows? There's just something about you that pisses me off. That's what God told Job when he asked why. Regardless, I decided right that night that motherfucker would die. I worked that mark, so slick, so sly. First off, I made sure he snorted, smoked, and swallowed 3 to my 1. And then I did some passive-aggressive gaming on his ass. Now, that's always fun. He would brag about how fine she was, that squeeze of his, and I would say, yeah, the whole hood knows how fine she is. Just like a cook watching the pot as the night wore on, I could see him simmer, then boil, then burn, and I just sat there gloating, waiting my turn. Then he jumped up and he called me a name, crass and dissonant. And then he said something about my mama, downright obscene. And then he threw an ashtray. And then he square my way, and that's when I knew I had him by his middle leg. So I lit the match to the powder cake. I smiled at him. That smug and snide, sissified, smart-ass, circle-jerk smirk that's driven them all berserk. Friends and enemies and women and teachers and principals and women and first sergeants and second lieutenants and women and exes and bosses and policemen and women. Well, anyways, it was just like a puppet on a string the way I had him played. He pulled out this knife with a 7-inch serrated blade, and then he started flopping around like a fish trying to do the wild thing. Started waving that blade like it was his fang, or a flag, or the old lady's finger. And that there is when I whipped out my tiny 2-inch. Now, ladies, it's little, but it's got a bodacious zinger. And it's chrome-plated. Now, the kind of poker was being played where the stakes done been raised to fade. A barrel beats the blade. So I had it made in the shade, sipping lemonade. No, sipping Kool-Aid. Some of that electric Kool-Aid, yeah. that big old bad boy, he froze like a popsicle. His jaw dropped like a prisoner on the gallows. His eyes went wide as they looked into mine, and I eased that hammer back, saving them seconds like sips of moonshine. I had played that Bama so smooth and fine. I had him insult me. He had insulted my mama. He had assaulted me. And then he pulled a deadly weapon on me. And that there's dangerous fortune on him. And I was totally righteous. I had not even raised my voice at him. And I got to tell you, to do something pure evil with absolute moral, legal, social justification. Why? That there jubilating sense of exaltation, that's a more seductive temptation than the gyrating and oscillating and oscillation and fornication, agitating excitation of a stripper in a push-up lacy bra and a G-string when your jock's packing a rocket and the red money's in your back pocket. And then the bulls busted in yelling, "Freeze!" And well, we all of us ended up taking a little vacation there in the CC Hotel. That's the Cook County Jail. And though that's not the main gist of my drift, that too, there's a little lesson to be learned from this tale that I've spun regarding this pun. See, things turned out different from both his and my plan. Someone dropped a dime to 911 and no one won. But wait a minute now, hold on now, freeze frame. You don't get to pick who you love. Who or what breaks your heart and brings on the sad. And in the same way, you don't get to pick what makes you feel guilty or bad. Now, I know in my head that pulling that piece was not all that right or bright. But in my heart, this is what kept me from sleeping at night. Now, maybe because I'm shit-kicking, ass-kicking, trash, white, lightning, swamp rat, redneck, rockabilly, hillbilly, hard-headed, hot-headed, copper-headed, hell-raising, trouble-making rebel, son of a bitch. Everybody in my life, everybody, even my own little baby girl, I've let down and hurt, or they have me, or both, except for Grandma Pearl. And you know, she looked the grandma too. She had snow angel white hair and China blue sky eyes, and she had the biggest, softest, downiest, pillowiest, billowiest bosom and thighs and lap during nap time hour in the rocking chair. She'd be smelling of lavender and baby powder and Pillsbury flower. And oh my, Grammy's jammy tarts. Each of them baked with a little piece of Grammy's heart in the shape of shamrocks and stars and whatnot. Now, y'all, might go for that there cubism, you know, but that's what I call art. And she'd put them out to cool on the back porch. And then me and my little sister would steal a couple each. And then Grandpa would come out and say, "You children know who done stole some of my jammy tarts?" And I'd poke baby sis in the ribs before she could spill the beans, and then, just like Bart, I'd shake my head, "No!" Like, you know, one of them bouncy doggies or hula dancers you put on the car dashboard. Well, now, Grandma, she was way too much of a lady-eye and full of the social graces to ever comment upon or notice all those telltale traces of jam that was all over our faces. You know, Grandmas, they loved everyone. Yo, don't you know, even a no-good, low-down, jam-I-taught bandito. But y'all hold on now. It could be like a coat on a hook. You just hang on because we are almost there. See, I had promised my old lady for like the 1,000th time that I'd stop my drinking and carousing and running around. And I'd done real good too. I'd gone almost 6 whole days when that telephone rang with an ominous sound. And, I cried when they had told me my Grandma Pearl had died. But even as the tears began to flow, I thought like a little bitch punk, oh boy, now I got an excuse to go get drunk. Evil drunk. That's right, and in the end I betrayed even my Grandma Pearl, acting the thug, the chump, and the chill by using her death as a pretext to go wild, and I denied what her loss signified. Like Peter did thrice before the cocks crow. Well, you know, you reap what you sow. I wish I coulda, shoulda, woulda vowed that night to try to be even a little bit more like her and treat folks right, but instead I instigated a fight and tried to take a man's life just for spite. Now, Y'all may have noticed that hip-by-dip-by has been slowly creeping up on us here. Those folks that died a year ago up there in NYC and in the air and down in D.C., it kind of seems to me they're like unto us as a nation what Grandma Pearl was to me, and I ain't going to tell anybody what to do. Because, well, I'll tell you what, there's at least 100 men and there's well over 1,000 women tell you you'd be a northbound horse's southern end to do as I say. But this is what I pray. That by our words and actions we testify and we signify their immolation dignified. Let us not use their deaths as a pretext for acts ignoble and mean to justify. Let us rather, Moses, go down instead unto that sacred heart chakra that in us all resides. There too resides in spirit those that dark day died, and there too should we reside, abide there a while, until we can decide the Tao clear to do, clarified, then clear-eyed, purified, burden, go forth anew. Lest years from now, your children there, all you young people here, look up at you with accusing eyes as they turn from the rubble and the holes in the lines of the Sidai skies, where once spanned the Golden Gate, out there in Cali State, where once stood the Sears Tower and the London Tower and the Eiffel Tower, come some unfathomable future hour gone the way of 1 and 2 Tower. St. Peter's Dome and the Dome of the Rock, the Sepulchre, the Kaaba, the Taj Mahal, down there in the desert out there, the Dove Fair, San Javier, where all of them were. The sorrow of the empty air and Los Mija, cry out to us. How dare you, on the brink of not just a new century, but a new millennium, leave us this legacy, and all we can do is rattle and stammer and stutter and shrug. I'm sorry, my daughter, my son. It was 911 and no one won.